Hello everyone, it's Nick and welcome to my channel. I'm going to start another finishing what I started project. A couple of years ago I made these table mats. They're from fabric which I went into the charity shop one day and there was a bag marked scraps. But when I turned it out, it was obviously a jelly roll that someone had cut up for some project and never finished the project. So I made these table mats from it, and there's some left. I got part way through making a table runner to go with in a basket weave pattern. But that's as far as I got, that one strip of the basket weave there. But I have enough of the blocks left. That's how they were cut in the bag labelled scraps, with some longer pieces, as you can see next to it. I've got enough of the blocks left to make another strip of basket weave. I don't know if I've got enough of the dark blue to use the same edging, but I'll put it in there somewhere so that it tones. So this is going to be a basket weave table runner. So here we go then, with a basket weave table runner. So these blocks are cut into 5.5 by 2.5. I think the jelly roll that the person who gave it to the charity shop would have originally bought would have been, they're usually 2.5-inch strips, but they had cut most of them into 5.5 strips. And it's quite a simple construction, really. All you do, oh yes, Luna, all you do is take one and sew together. You just lay them on top of each other to make a V shape like that, and then you sew it along this edge. No, Luna, there we go. And fold it up, and there you have your first part. And then for the next part, you take another, sew it there and up, and then sew here and up. And you can see that that is actually a really simple block to construct. I'll show you again when I'm on the machine. So the block size that you need are 5.5 by 2.5. It's ideal for scrappy fabrics, and it's very easy to construct a good long strip, which is ideal for a table runner. So I'll get my machine set up and then I'll show you them actually the stitching in progress. Come on. Ow! Don't bite. Do you want to do some sewing? Look, look. What is it? No, don't bite. So here I am with my first two pieces ready to begin. I'm going to lay that one slightly diagonally. I'm going to take that one, lay it on the top so that you get a V shape, and I'm going to stitch it together just along this part here. Just get that into the machine. I tend to use 1/4 inch seam allowance. That happens to be what the edge of this foot is, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent all the way through with the same seam allowance. So I'm going to just stitch it along there. Take that through, and then you'll see once it's pressed out that you have your V. So for the next piece, I'm going to take a piece. Are you helping me, Luna? I'm going to lay it on this side and stitch all the way up. Oh, let go, Luna. That's a good girl. I'm just going to stitch all the way up here. Then I have the next piece. Ideally, you should iron it, but you can see how helpful Luna's being, and I'm afraid she's going to burn herself on the iron. So I'm just finger pressing it for this section until I can give her my full attention. So then you simply take your next piece, whichever design you fancy from your stack, and you lay it there. And you stitch along this edge. Keep your paws out of the way, darling. There you go. And that, as you can see, is how you make your basket weave pattern. You just continue like that, sewing edges to edges. So the next one will go, well, you're going to choose the next one, are you, Luna? The next one will go here, and then the next on that side, and so on. Well, that's not very helpful, is it? Hey? Okay, I can't do it if you're going to do that, can I? Eh? Okay, perhaps we'll wait, yeah. So here we are. I finished the putting the second strip together. So as you can see, I've now got 2 zigzaggy strips. Quite long. They will get shorter because they need to be straightened up. So that is the next step, is to straighten the edges and to make them nice, neat rectangles. So I'll be just doing that with my rotary cutter, and I'll film it as I do it. But it will make them easier to join. They won't match, but that's not the point of this. This is to get something finished. So here I am straightening up the side of one of these zigzaggy strips. So what I am aiming to do is just look at my points, and I'm aiming to cut off the bare minimum to make a usable rectangle. I will worry about measuring them after I've got them cut to a straight usable edge. So I'm just looking at these points and I'm just lining them up as best I can along my ruler and taking a straight edge. And then I'll just flip it over and do that to the other side and then the other piece. So you can see I'm looking here, 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 here and here. That's pretty reasonable. And I'm just taking the minimum amount that I can to get myself a usable basket weave strip. It seems like a lot of waste, but compared to other patchwork blocks, it's not really, and the piecing is nice and straightforward. So what you gain in one direction, you possibly lose in another, but overall, compared with a lot of blocks, I don't think the waste is too bad. And as you can see, they are mostly triangles, so more scraps for me to think of something to do with. I've just got this last little bit to finish. Aim to get it straight. As I've said, I'm not worried about how wide that is. I will sort that out, even that out, because it will need some evening, as you can see, but not much. But that, just taking the bare minimum now, ensures that I get as much of a strip as I can. And then just to do the same at the edges, you want to look at your farthest corner, line it up, and make a straight edge for yourself. You do lose a lot, which is a shame, but it's just the way the block is constructed. And the same here, you want to look here and here and at that corner bit and just aim to get your best cut. The rest we can sort out once we have a straight piece of. It's not too bad actually. I don't think there's going to be much that needs adjusting there. So I'll do that with the second strip and then they'll be sewn together. Come on, missus, you can't help me with this, can you? Hey, come on, let me do it. Am I going to have to move you? So here we have the two pieces joined. It's come out at 44 inches long by 10.5 wide, which is pretty reasonable. So now I need to find some wadding and get quilting it. I want to edge it in the blue, the same as the placemats were, but I'm not sure if I've got enough. I'll just have to cut it to the bare minimum if I can and figure out if I have enough or not. So next job, find some wadding to go inside of this. and some backing for it as well. So here I am, ready to make my quilt sandwich for this table runner. Luckily, from the edge of the Christmas quilt, there was enough wadding left over and enough backing. So all I'm going to do is stick it all together using 505, which is a temporary spray glue. Just spray a bit at a time, smooth it on, and then the same with the backing. Give it a good press, and then it'll be ready for quilting. I did go through this on the Christmas quilt videos. It's distinctly easier to do on a smaller item. So perhaps I'll just give a quick video of how I do that. So here I am. In this instance, I'm just going to attach the top to the wadding first. So you just take your 505 spray glue, squirt it on lightly, and smooth it out, and that will hold it quite securely. I tend to do one end like that first and then work from the other end. Just peel it back until you feel, you can see there, you can sort of feel and see the resistance. Then spray another section and lay that down and smooth it out in the same manner. Move it up, wait till you feel the resistance, and spray another section. Doesn't matter if it's wadding or fabric really on something this small. On a quilt, you should really spray the wadding rather than the fabric. But on something this small, it's not going to make a lot of difference. And I'll just work my way up. I will spray the wadding. I don't want the quilt police to come for me, not that any such thing exists, and that's what you need to remember. A lot of people will tell you what you should do. Really, there isn't much should. Just do what works for you. There are too many rules, and it's supposed to be a hobby that you enjoy. And smooth that out again. You can see that you can pick it up and adjust it if you need to. It's a much easier job on something this small. So I will just quickly, I will press that, and then I'll lay the backing down and do the whole thing again. So here I am again with my very boring plain white backing and my pressed quilt piece rolled up and ready to go. So I will just spray a bit, pop it down and smooth it out. And I'll just keep going like that until the backing is applied. You can do it with pins, and some people use special tag guns, and some people tack, but I don't have as much time as I would like to sew, working and being a mum. So a brilliant shortcut like that is ideal for me, but it's whatever works for you. You do you. And you can see that in just a few minutes, I've then got my quilt sandwich ready to be quilted. So what I'm going to do now is press the backing. You do need some around the edges, but this is a bit much, so I'll probably just trim it down to make it a bit easier to handle, and then I'll start the quilting. So here I am, ready to quilt. I've decided that I'm going to do this on my hand crank machine. It's a Singer 99K. I was only going to use straight stitching on it, and you know, these machines are lovely to use, and you've got to keep using them to keep them working really. And you know, my beautiful silver machine died recently quilting the last Christmas quilt, so I just thought it would make a lovely change to quilt this smaller item, which I was only going to do straight lines with anyway, on this hand crank machine. It's quieter, so you can quilt into the evening without disturbing anyone. Because my brother, which is my previous machine to the silver that I had, it's noisy. It always has been. There's nothing wrong with it. It just makes more noise than the silver did. So for the evening, I think if I'm doing straight stitching, this is probably a better idea. So I'm just going to quilt away. As you can see, she's a lovely old machine, perfectly fine for doing this, easily adjustable. All I'm going to do is follow the lines of the seams on each block, just slightly away, because of course none of these will match because it's not that kind of block. I'm just starting in the middle and working my way out. Really, these machines have plenty of throat space, and they work so nicely that it's a shame not to use them if you've got the option. And there we are. So that's my first line of quilting done. So just take it out and cut it and continue. I think you'll be able to see it there on the brown, stitched fine. And I'm literally just going to do that throughout. Follow across here. I'm just going to follow across where the seams are any way that I can, to accentuate the zigzaggy type pattern. I'll show you when it's finished. So here we are, it's all quilted, and now I've just got to tidy the edges and sort out the binding. As I explained, I don't have much fabric for the binding, whereas I usually do my binding double. I think this time I'm going to do it single, a single thickness, which will mean that I will have enough. It'll just make it more of a fiddle to do the stitching at the back, but it'll be worth it to have the same blue edge as the placemats. Right, so here I am sewing my binding on. Usually I would have this double, but to save fabric so I'll have enough, I'm doing it single, which will make the hand stitching a little more of a pain later. But I think it's important to have the same blue edging as the mats had, as it is a set. So I'm just going to show what I'm doing. I'm just stitching it down about 1/4 of an inch edge. So you see here that I'm about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the runner. So now I'm going to leave my needle down, lift my presser foot and turn it so that I can sew straight towards the corner of the runner and just go off the edge, because what I'm looking to do is to make a nice neat corner. So when I get to this point, you can see that I have sewn straight off the edge. So in order to turn my corner, I need to lift this up, make a nice angle to the corner of the runner like that, hold it there and change the direction of my fabric so that I've covered my corner with enough pleat in the fabric to allow me to miter it later. So I turn my work, crease that crease in so I can feel where it is, drop my foot and drop my needle, and I'm ready to go again. And that will give me a nice corner that can be mitered when I get to flipping the rest of this border around. I just thought you might like to see that corner again. I'm just going to try and get the camera at a better angle. I hope that's better. So you can see I've got this much. So I'm just going to go up to about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. There I am. I'm about 1/4 of an inch away. As you can see, there's not much there. I lift my presser foot, turn the runner so that not all the way, just so I am facing the point of the corner, and sew off the edge, just sew off the edge. Pull that out, which leaves you can see that line of stitching, with a little angle line of stitching there. Now you want to fold your binding up like this, grip it there, change the direction of your fabric and fold it downwards, so you're left with a nice flap that you can miter. Press that down because you don't want to catch that in. Turn your work, pop it back under your needle. That needle slipped down, there we go. Pop it back under your needle, and then you're ready to stitch it down the next edge. Right, so as you can see, I've got my border binding on just for the last join at the end here. So what you do when you get to a join like this is you fold one piece, make a neat edge, and lay the other piece on the top. Cut off the excess there. And you stitch down right over both those pieces. That's so you can see it. And then you have a neat edge to fold over. So now all that's left is to fold everything over, my nice mitered corners there, and hand stitch it to the back. Right, so here I am just about to start hand stitching the back. I'm hoping that you can see. I have my dark blue thread to match the dark blue binding. I've taken my time and gone round and clipped more than I normally would, probably due to the fact that I've not doubled over my binding this time, and I'm just going to make tiny little stitches to catch it all in. Just little tiny hand stitches like that. I hope you can see that clearly. Oops. Just holding it under, and little stitches fairly close together. No, Luna, that's very helpful, but and once you go around and do that, that is the last stage to finishing your quilt. There are many other methods to binding. This is just the one that I tend to do more often. Oh, Luna. No, don't pull my thread. No, no. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to get on with this now. So, here it is finished. I did just have enough of the blue to make the border. I've got about 6 inches left. And there we have the table runner. Matches quite well with the table mats. Well, I'm quite pleased with it, really, especially considering that this lunchtime It was just half done, sat in a plastic carrier bag, being of no use to anyone. At least now it's a useful thing I can put on the table to pretty things up a bit. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again with more finishing things I've started. And I just realised that I didn't actually film it finished next to the placemats. So there it is. Be a quite nice table set now. So if you've oh, there's Luna. I think she likes them too. There we are. So if you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And yeah, there'll be more projects I'm finishing and maybe some Christmas makes I'm thinking about. So look out for more videos. Thank you.